Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel today. We are bringing you a breaking news update that is shaking the entire region and drawing the attention of the world shock in Ashdod, as Israeli authorities have officially confirmed that 34 defense posts were destroyed in a massive missile strike launched from Egypt. This marks one of the most dramatic escalations in years between the two countries, and analysts are already warning that this could set the stage for a much larger conflict. The Israeli Defense Forces have acknowledged that Egyptian missiles were able to penetrate several layers of Israeli air defense systems, targeting key military posts near the city of Ashdod, located along the southern coast. Eyewitnesses report enormous explosions, fireballs lighting up the sky, and thick smoke rising from multiple sites across the area. Emergency services rushed to the scenes in an attempt to contain the destruction and treat the wounded. Defense officials in Israel have admitted that the damage is extensive, with some of the destroyed posts being critical to Israel's coastal defense network. They confirmed that casualty numbers are still being assessed, but early reports suggest both soldiers and civilians have been injured in the strikes. The Israeli air defense systems, including Iron Dome, intercepted some incoming missiles, but a significant number managed to break through, highlighting vulnerabilities that Israel has long feared. The Egyptian government has not issued an official statement yet, but sources in Cairo claim the strike was in response to Israeli military actions along the border. Tensions between Egypt and Israel have been rising steadily in recent weeks, with both sides accusing each other of provocations. Today's attack, however, represents a major escalation far beyond sporadic border clashes and has brought the conflict directly into Israeli territory. For residents of Ashdod, the experience was terrifying. Many described the sudden wail of air raid sirens, followed almost instantly by loud explosions. Families fled to shelters while others were caught in the open with nowhere to hide. Social media has been flooded with images and videos showing blazing fires destroyed, buildings, and people screaming as emergency sirens echoed through the streets. The atmosphere in the city remains tense as citizens fear more missiles could follow. Security analysts say that the scale of the assault indicates careful planning and advanced technology. Egyptian forces are known to possess a wide range of missile systems, but the precision and timing of this strike suggest extensive preparation and possibly external support. The destruction of 34 posts in one coordinated barrage is being described as a serious blow to Israel's defensive posture along its southern flank in Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and other cities across Israel. The government has gone into emergency mode, with the Prime Minister convening an urgent meeting of the security cabinet. Officials are debating the scope and nature of Israel's response. Some are calling for direct strikes on Egyptian military infrastructure, warning that failing to retaliate forcefully will embolden adversaries. Others argue that calculated restraint may be necessary to avoid plunging the entire region into full-scale war. International reaction has been swift. The United States issued a statement expressing deep concern and affirming its commitment to Israel's security. At the same time, Washington called for both sides to exercise restraint and avoid steps that could trigger a larger war. European governments, including France, Germany, and the United Kingdom, echoed similar sentiments. The European Union Foreign Policy Office stressed that stability in the region is fragile and that escalation could have global consequences. Egyptian media outlets have celebrated the strike, presenting it as a victory against Israeli aggression. State-affiliated newspapers described the destruction of the defense posts as a strategic blow to Israel's military capabilities, while official government voices remained more cautious. The narrative emerging in Cairo frames the attack as a defensive action carried out in response to Israeli threats and operations along the border. Inside Israel, reactions have been fierce. The Israeli press is calling this one of the most serious national security crises in years. Commentators are highlighting the symbolic and practical impact of losing so many defense posts in one strike. A number of military analysts are questioning how Israel's vaunted air defense systems could fail to prevent such large-scale destruction. Many are warning that adversaries across the region will see this as evidence that Israel is vulnerable on the ground in Ashdod. Emergency services continue working tirelessly to restore order. Hospitals are treating dozens of injured people. Both soldiers and civilians rescue teams are combing through. The rubble of destroyed posts searching for survivors. Power outages have been reported in several neighborhoods, while local authorities struggle to repair infrastructure. The psychological shock on the population is immense, with many residents expressing fear that worse is yet to come. Israel has already begun deploying additional air defense systems across the country, with particular focus on the southern and coastal regions. Reports suggest that Iron Dome batteries and David Sling systems are being repositioned to cover more vulnerable sites. The Israeli Air Force has also been placed on high alert, with fighter jets patrolling the skies to deter any further missile launches. Defense officials say they are preparing for the possibility of another barrage. The political implications of this attack are profound. Members of the Israeli Knesset have delivered fiery speeches calling for immediate retaliation against Egypt. Some are demanding strikes against Egyptian air bases and missile sites. Others are urging the government to consider wider regional implications and to act in coordination with international allies. The Prime Minister, in a televised statement, declared that Israel will respond at a time and place of its choosing. He vowed that the destruction of Israeli defense posts will not go unanswered. In Cairo, the atmosphere is one of defiance, although the government has not released a detailed statement. Political leaders are standing firm against Israeli accusations. Public opinion in Egypt appears to support the strike, with many citizens praising the action as a show of strength against Israel. Opposition voices, however, are warning that Egypt risks triggering a conflict it cannot control and that war would bring suffering to both sides. Regional powers are now on edge. Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Jordan have all expressed concern about the escalation while calling for restraint. Turkey and Iran have issued statements supportive of Egypt, framing the attack as resistance to Israeli aggression. Iranian media outlets in particular are celebrating the strike, portraying it as a blow against Israel's dominance in the region. This has raised further alarm in Israel, where officials believe Iran may have played an indirect role in supporting the attack. Humanitarian organizations are raising alarms as well. The United Nations has urged both countries to de-escalate and avoid dragging civilians into the conflict. Aid agencies are warning that if the situation spirals into a wider war, millions of people across the region could be affected by displacement shortages and new waves of violence. The Secretary General has called for an emergency session of the Security Council to address the crisis. Economically, the impact is already being felt. Global markets reacted swiftly, with oil prices climbing on fears of instability. In the eastern Mediterranean, shipping companies are reviewing routes near Israeli and Egyptian waters amid concerns of naval confrontations. Financial analysts warn that prolonged conflict could disrupt trade routes and spark wider economic volatility that extends far beyond the Middle East for ordinary Israelis. The shock is still sinking in families. In Ashdod and surrounding areas remain in shelters. Many schools have been closed until further notice. Businesses have been disrupted, and a sense of fear hangs in the air. Ordinary people are demanding answers from the government about how such a catastrophic failure of defense could occur and what steps will be taken to ensure their safety in the future. Israeli military strategists are reportedly preparing multiple contingency plans. One involves targeted airstrikes against Egyptian missile batteries. Another contemplates a broader campaign aimed at degrading Egyptian military infrastructure. Yet officials are also aware that a direct and massive retaliation could spiral into a full-scale war with enormous consequences across the region. As debate continues, Israelis remain on edge, waiting to see what their leaders will decide as night falls over Israel. The country remains in a state of emergency. Military units are mobilized along the southern border. Air defense systems are on full alert. And the Prime Minister has warned citizens to be prepared for difficult days ahead. In Ashdod, recovery efforts continue with emergency lights illuminating destroyed posts and rescue teams working through the rubble, the scars. Of this strike, both physical and psychological are already leaving a deep mark on the population. International observers believe this moment could mark a turning point in the history of Egypt. Israel relations. While the two countries have long maintained a fragile peace agreement, this direct missile strike against Israeli military positions represents a dramatic rupture. Many analysts say that once Israel retaliates, the peace framework will collapse entirely, leading to an open and dangerous conflict between two of the region's most powerful states. For now, the world is watching closely. Every move by Israel and Egypt is being scrutinized by diplomats, military experts, and ordinary